to that, the Cubs were in Houston, which brought up the topic of the Kyle Tucker and Cam Smith, the key piece of that trade in the offseason. And I heard this brought up. This is not an original idea, but I heard this question brought up quite a bit last week. Like, what is, and I'd even ask you from an outsider's perspective, what is the bare minimum that the Cubs would need to have happen to justify the Kyle Tucker trade? I mean, do they have to win the World Series? Is that the only way that the Kyle Tucker trade is worth giving away, a prospect such as Cam Smith, he's having a hell of a rookie season. He certainly doesn't have the numbers of Kyle Tucker that we were kind of joking about at the beginning of the season, like comparing like their stats. He's nowhere near Kyle Tucker, who's he's an all-star, top 5 offensive player in any category. But Cam Smith is, he's got a 786 OPS, 7 home runs, 4 stolen bases. He's 22 years old.
Yep.
So Houston's got him for at least 6 more years under control, I believe. So what from it, I'll give you my thoughts after, if you want to, from an outsider's perspective, what do you think that has to happen this season for the Kyle Tucker trade to be worth it?
Well, I think the main thing you just pointed out, the biggest deal of that trade, the 6 years of control.
Yeah.
So what needs to happen this season is we need to get an announcement that Kyle Tucker has been extended.
Yep. That's
the only way. Winning a World Series this season would be great.
It's the whole
Obviously, the whole point of why you're out there playing as a team.
Yes.
But you win the World Series and you just let the guy go.
Well,
I mean, maybe that changes the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, to me, I'm not saying they're not going to, win the World Series. I just don't see them winning the World Series this year.
No, they're going to lose to the Tigers. It's unfortunate.
I think there's going to be we've seen it happen a few weeks ago. There are holes there that I don't know that the management is going to be able to fill by the trade deadline.
That's a really good topic too.
And those holes will continue to get exposed and they especially usually get exposed in the playoffs.
Well, with Jameson Taillon now going on the IL, they have to get starting pitching, and the starting pitching market is horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, people are talking about Luis Severino from the A's as being a trade target. We talked a couple weeks ago. I was talking about Chris Sale, who's immediately got hurt and off the market, and of course, so there's just not a robust starting pitching market other than Sandy Alcantara, who had been terrible, then was better in June, and then just had another. I think his last outing, he gave up 7 earned runs. That's what they're going to be looking for. I think this is the wrong year to be looking for starting pitching at the trade deadline.
I'm telling you, the Sox are in the fucking. They're at
catbird seat.
They're in the catbird seat with Adrian Hauser.
Mm-hmm. I've heard his name brought up a lot this past week.
Went another 7 innings, or was it 8 innings in fucking Colorado? Let up a run or no runs. Right. I can't even remember. But it was minimal. His ERA is like way below 2 now. His WHIP is around 1. I mean,
Chris Getz and Jed Hoyer are neighbors. They live in the same neighborhood, so they talk all the time. So let's get this done. But yeah, your point with the Cubs and their World Series prospect, I think that's the most salient point is their problems that they should be able to solve or going to try to solve at the trade deadline are just not easily solvable. So they've got serious issues there that make you think a World Series championship is not a guarantee by any means. So that's where I'd say, for Kyle Tucker to justify that trade, obviously winning the World Series. Yes. If they win the World Series, that's the whole point. It was worth it, even if he's gone next year. Signing him long-term is, number 2. If that happens, then it's worth the trade, because the theory that he would come to Wrigley and be enamored with the sold out crowds every day and the whole atmosphere and just decide he wants to spend the rest of his baseball career and in the friendly confines, that would be justified then, even if they don't win the World Series. So what if they made the World Series and then lost to my Tigers? is that, and then lost Kyl Tucker completely.
No,
He didn't resign. It's not worth it. So would you?
Because what? Here's the problem. Now you've got to fill a gaping hole along with the other. So let's use a boat analogy, a sinking ship. So you go out on a voyage and you plug it. You've managed to revitalize your offense, and you've got this young talent which should continue to flourish with like a Peter Crow Armstrong, and you got your Michael.
That's the MVP.
MVP, yeah, the other MVP, the second. You've got Michael Bush there, who's solid.
He's looking incredible.
Yeah, you got Suzuki, who is going beyond the means after last season we ever thought we would.
He's not even an all-star.
I know, that's
like 75
crime.
RBI.
That's a crime.
Yeah,
but you got all the pieces there, and then Tucker was. We thought like, wow, Tucker and Cody Bellinger would have been insane, but probably actually would they be even better? I don't know. But what would have been more important would have been, Kyl Tucker and signing a legitimate number one pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then you got some of what you needed to fill taken care of, except you still have some bullpen issues. So like, Tucker goes away without winning the World Series.
26 looks like a mess.
It looks like a mess.
Although you've got, Justin Steele coming back, so that helps the rotation immensely. You've got your ace coming back. Yeah, but I think I agree with you. I think signing him long term is that obviously will justify the trade. Winning the World Series is the only other option. If they flame out, what was the point? I've experienced that twice in my adult life. The Tigers losing a World Series. It was an awesome ride in 2006 and 2012, but to flame out and not get those championships just is devastating. It's like it's cool, and I can bring that up and trash talk all I want, but they didn't get the job done. So what's the point?
No, you can't trash talk me in 2012.
I know I can't. I can't. Fortunately, the Cubs won the World Series in 2016. That changed everything forever. So, but again, it's not worth. I can tell you from firsthand experience, from a fan's perspective, it's going to a World Series is enough. You got to fucking win it. And I think with the Kyl Tucker trade, we're going to see Cam Smith for potentially decades to come, as he's only 22 years old. If the Cubs don't sign Tucker long term or win that series, it was not worth it.
Word Hole Media.